I've been playing the Life is Strange games again, and this is my first time really playing them since they came out. So, I started with Before the Storm, and it made me realize something. Chloe deserves so much better than what she got. Hi, I'm Kari, and once again, Life is Strange has plagued my life. Before we get started, obligatory spoiler alert for Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange Before the Storm, and Life is Strange Double Exposure. Let's get into it. Between Max, who's about as good a friend as Tori Vega, and Rachel, who treats Chloe like a shiny new toy, Chloe never really stood a chance. And while I don't like Chloe, I think she's entitled and annoying, I think she's one of the better characters in this entire series. And that brings us to Before the Storm, which is a perfect insight into who Chloe is and who she becomes. It also gives us a deeper insight into Rachel Amber, who we'll get to in a second, but for now I want to focus on Chloe and who she is as a character. Chloe put so much stock into these people who have left or failed her that it becomes her entire identity. She has this tunnel vision, this unyielding loyalty that I've really only seen in characters like Percy Jackson. And once these people who she thought would be there forever are out of her life, she struggles to move on. You can see this in Before the Storm, where her entire journal is addressed to Max, the best friend that abandoned her and the only one who really could have kept her grounded after William died. And because of this 1-2 punch of Max leaving and William dying, we get this Chloe who's afraid to let anybody in for fear that they will leave her again. But it also leads her to fall in with Rachel fairly quickly. And on the topic of Rachel Amber, Chloe isn't being hyperbolic when she says that Rachel is her angel. Rachel did save her at a time when Chloe was feeling like she was hanging on by a thread. But even without the plot of Before the Storm, Rachel is so clearly running from something, and she's drawn to Chloe because Chloe is running from something too. They are, for the most part, two sides of the same coin, angry at the world for things they really can't control. Rachel finds this kinship with Chloe because she knows Chloe won't judge her, and whether Rachel wants to admit it or not, she kind of sees Chloe the way everyone else does, this problem child eager to rebel at the earliest convenience. And I think that's what draws Rachel to Chloe in the first place, because just how Chloe was hanging on by a thread, Chloe is who Rachel needed when she was hanging on too. She's who she needed when this facade of perfection started to slip. Chloe is exactly who Rachel needed at her corner in that moment. Now then, that's the last nice thing I'm going to say about Rachel Amber. And while I won't ignore the nuance of two characters becoming trauma bonded through the events of this game, I want to talk about who Rachel is. When we meet Rachel at the Firewalk concert, we meet someone who is more impulsive than she is rebellious. Rachel is effectively a poser, but so is Chloe. The only difference is Rachel is less likely to back down from a fight. We see this when she smacks small-town drug lord over the head later in the game. Rachel is equal parts the product of parents who trust her too much and put her on too high of a pedestal. Rachel is actively buckling under the weight of this perfection. The struggle to be popular, a straight-A student, the perfect daughter, it's all catching up to her. And it's why she's at the Firewalk concert to begin with. It's why she skipped school, it's why she's drawn to Chloe. Rachel is already looking for a way out, even before she meets Chloe, even before she thinks her dad is cheating on her mom. I would go so far as to say, dear viewer, that Rachel hates being in Arcadia Bay, and she's always been resentful of that for her parents bringing her here, especially her dad. Now, earlier I said that Rachel treats Chloe like a brand new toy. I say this because of the way Rachel seems to be more attracted to the infamy surrounding Chloe and the idea of Chloe than Chloe Price herself. I think that's why Rachel is so quick to jump into what looks like a romance with Chloe, and it feels really rushed even for the game only having 3 episodes, as opposed to its usual 5. They move fast because they're 16 and impulsive, but there's more to it than that. Rachel is all-consuming. Like the forest fire she started, she was always on a path that ended in tragedy. And it's interesting to look at the parallels between Rachel and fire, between Rachel and stars. Rachel burns hot and fast, hurtling towards the finish line in any effort to get what she wants, to leave Arcadia Bay, to go back to California, to escape perfection. And whether she knows it or not, these factors make Rachel a uniquely self-centered person. But in Rachel's defense, I don't think it's entirely her fault. I would argue that in order to be who she has been her entire life up until now, she's had to be a little selfish. She's had to put herself first. But what does this have to do with Chloe? Chloe is so desperate for someone to not leave her that she would do anything for Rachel if it means that she won't leave. And to a degree, Rachel knows this. It's why she dangles the idea of running away together in Chloe's face so much. Rachel was always going to try and leave Arcadia Bay, with or without Chloe. It's to the point where damn near the whole town knew she wanted to go back to California. Frank almost went back to California to look for her when she first went missing. I would argue that Rachel never planned to take Chloe with her, or if she had, she wouldn't have stayed with Chloe for long. Chloe was never going to be enough for Rachel, and Chloe would have clung to her until she physically couldn't anymore. Rachel and Chloe's paths were always going to lead to hurt and destruction. It was only a matter of time, which I think is very sad, because Chloe wants so badly to believe in Rachel. Chloe wants to be a better friend to Rachel than Max was to her. Whether or not Rachel was using Chloe in Before the Storm to get what she wanted, and to be clear, I think she was, she's nowhere near as bad as Max Caulfield. And as much beef I have with this game and these characters, I hate Max. Max did effectively abandon Chloe. That's not something that's up for debate. She wasn't really answering Chloe's texts or emails until that stopped altogether. Should I hold Max to a child's promise of keeping in touch with her friend? Probably not, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because 14 is old enough to know that words, and more importantly, promises have meaning, especially to your best friend whose father just died. She didn't have to leave that recording promising to keep in touch, and she also didn't have to drop her best friend when she needed her the most. In the entire time that she's back in Arcadia Bay, Max makes no effort to reach out to Chloe at all. Chloe and Max are in this vicious cycle where Chloe doesn't want to lose Max again, and Max is driven by guilt and regret. But Max only regrets anything when she's directly confronted with the fact that she did in fact abandon Chloe. She doesn't even really apologize, and Chloe calls her out directly for making excuses.
So you came back to Arcadia for a teacher, not your best friend.
Don't you think I'm happy to see you?
No. You were happy to wait 5 years without a call or even a text.
I'm sorry. I know things were tough on you when I left.
How do you know? You weren't even here.
I didn't order my parents to move specifically to fuck you over, Chloe.
You've been at Blackwell for almost a month without letting me know. Enough said.
I just wanted to settle in first and not be such a shy, cliche geek. I totally would have contacted you.
I bet you don't use these sad excuses on Mr. Jefferson. Don't use them on me, Max.
I would be hard-pressed to find a moment anywhere in episode 1 of the first game where Max isn't using Chloe as a marker in time rather than a friend that she misses and has fond memories of. Through Max's own journal entries, we see that compared to Chloe, Max has rarely thought about Chloe. The only time she does talk about Chloe is to wonder if they're still friends. And even when you flip to the people that Max knows, Chloe is not there. And I know what you're gonna say, Kari, it's for plot purposes. Is it though? Because in Before the Storm, Chloe has a picture of Max and it's what Max looked like as she remembered her. Could have easily done that for Chloe too and then changed the picture. I don't want to hear it. Max is a bad friend. Max has absolutely no pictures of Chloe on her wall, and she has pictures of her Seattle friends on her wall, but none of Chloe. I double checked. Chloe has at least one picture of Max from when they were kids in Before the Storm. Granted, it's probably because her dad was in it too, but even through everything, even knowing that Max abandoned her to a degree, Chloe still cares about whether or not Max is okay. We see this when she straight up asks Max how she's been and how she is as a grown-up now.
What does Max Caulfield do for fun now that she's a grown-up?
I take photos of me, the world, everything. It may sound sad, but I have a blast.
It doesn't sound that sad.
I'm happiest when I've got a great image in my lens. I'm not lonely, not afraid.
Now that's more inspiring. I don't feel so totally hopeless.
Granted, you have to rewind to get this line of dialogue, but it shows that Chloe still cares whether or not Max is happy. Because even if Chloe hasn't been happy all this time, it helps a little to know that Max is, even if she was happy without her. It's why when Chloe says goodbye to Book Max, to the Max that she's been writing letters to at the end of Before the Storm, it's such a big deal. because she's finally learning to move on, and the person she can move on with is Rachel. I went way off my script to rant about Max initially, so we're gonna talk about who Max is as a person now. And hey, if you're still here and you made it this far, why don't you subscribe? For the sake of full disclosure, I will admit that I struggled to get through the first Life is Strange game again, because Max's "what was me" insecure attitude is exhausting. Max is deeply insecure. She's riddled with imposter syndrome. Nothing that she does will ever feel right to her until somebody tells her that it's the right thing. It's why Chloe can put Max in damned if you do, damned if you don't situations so often in the game, like choosing between taking a call from Kate or giving Chloe your entire attention. Do I think Max is a bad person? No, but I do think the powers make her kind of selfish too. It's important to understand that in a game like Life is Strange, even the tutorial means something about the character and who they are as people. That's why you can stand up for Nathan in Before the Storm as Chloe, because it shows that as much as she pretends not to care, she cares a lot and she cares about people, probably more than she feels like she should. But even that's an insight into the character. So, for Max to immediately waste time to impress Mark Jefferson or to one-up Victoria is telling to this character, because time immediately means nothing to the person who can now rewind it. It's Max's selfishness that leads you to the final choice in this game, whether to save Arcadia Bay or to save Chloe, and Chloe, who has significantly matured over the course of this game, begs you to let her die, because it seems like that pivotal moment is what's creating this disaster. She begs you, and you have the option to ignore her wishes and do away with the only family she has left. This blatant disregard of Chloe's wishes is why they break up in Double Exposure.
I mean, we were together for kind of a long time after high school. And then we weren't. She wanted to live in the future. I was too hung up on the past.
And this, dear viewer, is why the curtains are never just blue. It is implied that this Max that saves Chloe over Arcadia Bay never learned the lesson that messing with time has unforeseen circumstances for everyone involved. And it seems like this Chloe has learned a lesson about moving on twicefold now, and doesn't want to keep reliving in the mistakes that she and Max made. She wants a chance to move on and become her own person, and if Max keeps holding on to that, then I would understand her feeling like she can't particularly move on. And there is a part of this Chloe that resents Max for getting her mom killed. It adds to the guilt of being alive when she's really not supposed to be. Plus, there's the added blow that Max still has both of her parents, while Chloe is essentially an orphan now. The only parental figure she has is David, and honestly, in Life is Strange 2, it seems like he's calmed down a lot, and they bonded over losing Joyce. If Chloe is alive in Double Exposure, a text conversation can be seen where she's asking Max if she'll just keep rewinding until Chloe says yes to moving in with her. And I know Max says that she'd never do that, but questions like that don't just sprout out of nowhere. And I think it comes from a place of genuine concern for Chloe, because she's watched Max use these powers for personal gain. Chloe being alive at all in Double Exposure is for Max's own personal gain and benefit. It just happened to backfire on her. Max will always be a person driven by guilt. It's why she clings to Chloe so much after the events of the first game. She actively acknowledges that Chloe asked her to save her family, to save Arcadia Bay, and throughout their entire time together, Max is now worried once again that Chloe hates her. And by the time we get to Max's character development in Double Exposure, it's too late and the damage is done. It will be interesting to see what comes next in Reunion when Max is directly confronted with Chloe once again. But again, dear viewer, we've come back to our central question. What does this have to do with Chloe? It would be safe to assume that Chloe feels guilty about still being alive when everyone else, namely her mother, isn't, especially because we've already seen Chloe internalize things like loss, and has in the past felt like it's her fault, i.e. her dad dying and Max leaving the first time. In a playthrough of Double Exposure where Chloe is alive, you can read her social media posts where she misses Arcadia Bay after years of wanting nothing more than to just leave. She never really got a chance to grow out of this childhood angst and teenage rebellion. She never got a chance to see her family as broken but still good. I hope we see a Chloe in Reunion that has this full character development, this full maturity that we only started to see in the first Life is Strange game. Chloe deserves people who won't fail her. She deserves better than people who have. She deserves better than someone who is always going to leave her in the end, and she deserves better than someone who would blatantly disregard her wishes for their own gain. I hope in this new game that we see a Chloe that finally gets a happy ending. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you liked the video and you want to see me play Reunion, make sure you drop me a comment and like the video. And maybe subscribe while you're at it. I do really like these games. They are very cool and I've been playing them for a while. So yeah, I pre-ordered Reunion and I'm gonna play it on live. So if you want to see that, let me know. Thanks for hanging out with me and thanks for watching the video. Bye.